Excellent. The specimen is growing marvelously. Hello YouTube, it is I, RainingCardGames, and welcome back to the channel. Now, for those of you who are longtime fans of the channel, you should know that one of my personal favorite decks of all time is Aliens. I do have a soft spot for this old reptile deck from the GX era, and over, I guess now at this point we're coming close to the decades, it has received support, slowly bringing it into each of the new eras. It got a wave of synchro support in the 5Ds era, it then obviously got some link support, and slowly throughout all of it you do have reptile support that's been trickling and sprinkling all across the Yugioverse. But finding a brew of aliens that works is tricky. Is it meta? No. Is it rogue? I guess technically it qualifies as rogue since it's not meta, but in either case, it's a very difficult deck to place. It's a difficult deck to play in the instance of how are you playing it. I always want to play my decks to the highest ceiling possible. So that's how I take two aliens. I love the deck, but I also want to win with the deck. And I do accept that I'm not always going to win with it because there is a clear power ceiling between the current meta, whether that be Unchained, Pearly, so on and so forth, and the lowly aliens. But I still want my aliens to put up a fight, and gosh darn it, we're gonna make it happen. So for today's video, we're gonna be showcasing my current brew of aliens. So if you like this kind of content, if you would all please be so kind as to like, comment, and subscribe, I would graciously appreciate it. But now that all that's said and done,
this is where the fun begins.
And oh, how fun is it gonna be? This is the current brew of aliens that I am tinkering around with. So, as you can see, it is not full-on pure alien. I do want to win, so we have pulled in from other reptile engines to make the deck work. At its heart, it is still an alien deck, however. Its focus is on distributing A counters and controlling the field. It is a control deck with aspects of combo. Now, alien lineup, pretty straightforward. 3 Ammonite, 3 Alien Buster, 2 Kid, 2 Dog, 1 Overlord. Or the way this deck is kind of working is I want to make sure that I always have a setup for Alien Ammonite because it's great for synchro or link plays. Alien Buster is the heart and soul of my alien lines. Send to the graveyard, distribute A counters. I can then, after it's the turn after it's sent to the graveyard, banish what card with the A counter on, pop it. Great for interaction, or also its first effect for helping me set up some of my later link plays. Extremely important. Also the fact that all my aliens are light reptiles, specifically these ones are also level 4. That does come up occasionally. We have an Ogdoadic engine, we have Nauya and Nunu. These are very important for getting board presence, also setting up my graveyard with light reptiles. And of course we have the big guy himself, the Ogdoadic Overlord. Nephilavis is very great for special summoning himself if a monster is sent from deck or hand or deck to the graveyard. Also, he can revive a reptile from my graveyard with no restrictions. Perfect for establishing board presence. We have a tiny reptilian engine. Lamia for special summoning by targeting a monster my opponent controls. Make its attack 0. Special summon. Really great card. Also does pair beautifully with the Hydra, and we will have plenty of 4s on field to make that possible. And a Coatl, level 4 tuner. Special summons itself if I have a dark reptile on field. Excellent extension, also allows me to get into the level 8 synchro plays with either Melusine or my Borreload Savage Dragon if I have the link set up already for it. Small rest of the reptile package, Night Sword Serpent. This is a target that we send off a Snake Rain or off a Water Lily, and it will just special summon itself, banish it when it leaves the field, but realistically we only need this to proc once. And then of course Dangerous Tsuchinoko. Even if it's discarded, it special summons, we use that as link material. Otherwise, it can help us dig a little bit deeper into the deck. As I mentioned, Snake Rain, we want to make sure this card goes off. It's fantastic, especially when paired with Water Lily, because if we have 5 reptiles in grave, not only can we Foolish another reptile, we can then Monster Reborn. Bring another one back from the graveyard. Excellent for establishing board presence. And to continue that, we have Viper's Rebirth. Non-once per turn, this is just Monster Reborn for reptiles that are not tuners. Granted, it's banished, or I'm sorry, destroyed at the end of the turn, but I don't care because I'm going to be using that reptile that I'm bringing back. Of course, we have to have a cell recombination device. Target a face-up monster on the field, send an alien from deck to grave, place that many A counters on it. Extremely important for establishing control when we can use those counters to either destroy or special summon some of our alien monsters. But also I can banish it from the graveyard after the turn it's sent to the graveyard. So that way I can search an alien and get other plays going. Usually I'm going for Alien Ammonite just for that extra board presence. And then to round out alien cards, we have Alien Code A Ancient Ruins, soft once per turn, continuous spell that I can, bring back Monster Reborn aliens. And then also Planet Pollutant Virus, which helps me distribute A counters while also dealing with monsters that are not covered currently with the A counters. And then Triple Imperm and Ogdoadic Serpent Strike to help reborn monsters and reset my graveyard to make sure I have the right cards I need. In terms of the extra deck, very straightforward. We want to make sure we are getting to Cosmic Slicer Zerol. He is our win con. 2+ reptile monsters, link 3. Monsters with A counters are changed to defense position and they can't activate their effects. It's Baguska. But also I can remove 2 A counters. And well, specifically first, if it's Link Summon, I can add a card that distributes A counters, and then I can remove 2 A counters from anywhere on the field, normal summon 1 reptile monster. Great, because I want him to have his effect so that I can normal summon Alien Kid, so that I can continuously distribute A counters to my opponent's monsters and basically have them on an alien counter lock. This is the game plan. But we also have other cards to facilitate that. Alien Shock Trooper M-Frame helps distribute A counters. Also, when he floats, if he's destroyed based on how many A counters my opponent has, I can special summon that many reptiles back to the field. Lamia also helps us dig into the deck while weakening our opponent's monsters. And of course, we have a synchro package that we can go into. My favorite, Cosmic Fortress Golgar, helps destroy cards by using A counters as utility. Also can help me recycle some of my continuous spells multiple times, especially Code A Ancient Ruins, and then a couple of other generic link package cards that we can hopefully make use of. All in all, like I said, it's control with aspects of combo. So now, let's see how these extraterrestrial monsters do. Alright, so for game number 1, we are going first against Yugioh. This will be interesting. Most of my effects either negation or destruction, so we'll see how that goes. But in terms of opening hands, pretty good setup. I can have a pretty easy route to get up to Cosmic Slicer Zerol, and I have extra extension as well, where, I'm able to use my larger monster to special summon back out the Reptilian Quoddle, and then boom, that also means that I can get my lock with Alien Kid on, as well as a Reptilian Melusine. And also, because of the added search, I do have the back row, but unfortunately I get hit with Raigeki. Really annoying, so I just have to fire off the Planet Pollutant Virus, so at least I know I'm going to still get A counters distributed on the field for future follow-up. Luckily, the Melusine does not get destroyed by card effects, so that Raigeki does not affect her. Her effect of turning quick effect once per chain, target a face-up monster, turn its attack to 0. Not really useful against a deck where most of the attack values are 0. But I digress. We have the Viper's Rebirth to cycle back through. Every time a monster is special with A counter, it goes to defense. Its effects are negated. This is perfect for me, which means I can walk over all these dinguses. I bring out the good old boy, Cosmic Fortress Golgar, one of my favorite cards. So great. Get to bounce, get an extra A counter, start to eat away at the back row, hit a Twin Twister, which I'm not too worried about. But I still have to face down this Terror Incarnate, and then obviously I can't keep my Cosmic Slicer on the field because it was revived with a Viper's Rebirth, so I just have to be content with having 2 monsters on field. Gustav Max hits the field to burn me for 2k. I turn its attack to 0, so that way I don't get beaten over by anything. Lieb hits the field. I turn its effect to 0, but it gains 2,000. My opponent still can't beat over my monsters. They scoop. Next up, we are going up against Blue Eyes. Once again, open up, start to fill my graveyard with reptiles. I bring out the Night Sword Serpent, and then I use Viper's Rebirth, so I can go then into a King of the Feral Imps, getting me an Ammonite, because guess what? I have not normal summoned yet. Really nice to have my Ammonite pop off. I get into my Cosmic Slicer, I fill it up with the alien counter, so that way I can normal summon my kid. Therefore, I now have my lock, I have a Planet Pollutant Virus, and I do have some follow-up with Lamia if my opponent's able to push through, so that way I can have some recursion with Hydra if I need it. They set. This is positive. Blue Eyes Vanilla hits the field, gets turned to defense because of a special summon and gets an A counter. Excellent for me. Now I can start to push, so I go for Lamia. Then I go into Hydra so I can destroy, but then I get hit with the Ultimate Fusion, denying me the destruction and the draw. And then it gets dealt with, and unfortunately, I am now in a losing situation, which is not great. I don't have the recursion to follow up. One of the flaws of this strategy, it is very resource intensive to set this up. But we are just going to keep on trudging on through. Next up, we're going up against Mekanko. We show off Snake Rain, and then also following it up soon with the Water Lily in hand. We just load up with King of the Feral Imps. We make sure we have enough monsters in our graveyard so we can also bring out the Tsuchinoko and not hit any of our spells. We then can slowly but surely start to revive our monsters. We bring back our Ogdoadic big boss, so that way we can, siphon through the deck a little bit more and establish more of a board presence. This is excellent for us. We can search the Planet Pollutant Virus because we can use our Ogdoadic Overlord to bring back the kid, which was already engraved, and then we can also extend a little bit more. I'm showing off a little bit. I forgot to dump the Reptilian Tuner so I could go into the Melusine, but it's okay. I can still use my Alien Shock Trooper M-Frame as tribute fodder for Planet Pollutant Virus so that I can have always the A counters online. And look at that, even the one single Mekanko equipped, I don't have to worry about its effects popping off. However, it does have a couple of lingering effects, for example, not being destroyed by battle, but I digress. I'm able to go up into the Boral Sword. I then realize, oh, right, it can't be destroyed by card effect or by battle. That's not a activating effect. A little bit of a thinker, but it's okay. Showing a classic case of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players not reading, but I do have outs in my deck. I go into Nightmare Unicorn, spin it away. Problem solved. Swing in for a bunch of damage. There we go, we cleaned up shop. Alright, next up we are going up against Dogmatica. So, this version of Dogmatica that I'm going up against is actually the Ritual variant. I haven't played against this in, gosh, I don't even know. It's been quite a while since I've played the Ritual variant of Dogmatica, let alone Dogmatica in general. I do have the Imperm, so I am able to stop the Ecclesia, so I don't have to worry about like a punishment or anything in the back row, but it's still worrisome losing a lot of vital pieces in my extra deck, especially the King of the Feral Imps. He usually plays an integral role. I get ashed on the Snake Rain. That is extremely unfortunate. I at least able to get some A counters in circulation and try to assemble a field. I go into Echidna. Unfortunately, I don't have enough interaction to go through, so seeing the writing on the wall, yeah. Next up, we're just going to go to another heavy hitter. We're going up against Super Heavy Samurai. Obviously, they got hit by losing their Link monster, but that still means they are still, regardless of losing that, they have a lot of powerful components and also hand traps. This is another good showcasing of how cards like Diddy Crow can really hurt us when we're trying to recur monsters from the graveyard. We do hit their normal summon so that they have to basically kill themselves in order to get their engine going and start to search when they grab the motorbike. And this is now where they can go into the Pendulum engine so they can activate their Synchro line of play. And I don't have anything. That Imperm was all I had, and then all of the everything else that I had got interrupted with that DD Crow, and then look at that hand. Another DD Crow, double Droll and Lockbird. That is a rough hand to deal with, and I do have the benefit of drawing since they already had to go through their battle phase, so my alien dog for the moment is going to stick on the field. For how long, that is to be seen. The Crimson Dragon hits the field, and now with Synchro Ruse coming through, this means that we're going to be facing down a Baronne de Fleur. Baronne pops my Code Ancient Rune, highly unfortunate. I draw Water Lily. I try to bait out some of the Baronne negates. I get hit with Troll. That's alright. I can still special summon and activate my engines. I try to do the Night Sword Servant, gets hit with DD Crow. I try then for the Alien Ammonite, and that's what they were saving the Barone Negate for. There's no chance. And I figured we'd end the last game against a real heavy hitter, arguably one of the best decks of the format. We are going up against Unchained. They're going first. They got full... basically can go through their combo line without any interruption for me. Didn't draw any infinite impermanents. Deck crafting wise, I would like to have hand trap, but at the same time, I do want to always keep Viper's Rebirth online, and to keep that, I need only reptiles in the graveyard. They have a modest setup, however, that DDD Wave King, High King Caesar is an issue for me, because I can deal with my special summons of grade. Luckily, I can chain a little bit of the interaction, so I only get my Tsuchinoko negated, meaning I got Night Sword Serpent on the field, so that way I can start to pop off. Overlord hits the field, distributes A counters again. I normal summon my Naoya so I can grab my Water Lily. That gets negated, so it's alright. I then go into my Alien Recombination, so that I can fuel the graveyard, and try to assemble a board. If you notice in my opponent's hand, they have the rock. You have no idea how heartbroken I was at that moment. I was actually like, okay, I can actually play through this. I've got enough cards to push through, establish my board, and then I get hit with Nibiru, and I don't have the interaction. And I know because this is Unchained, even though my token is gigantic at 97,000, 9,700, 9,100, they can destroy it. Now, I do have the benefit of getting my Overlord onto the field, but once again, this is Unchained. They can just easily deal with my monster at any point in terms of destruction, removal, and I've got no shot, no follow-up. All of my engine was basically into gas at that point, trying to establish a board that I could push through, and I fall short, which is unfortunate, but this is the best deck of the format. Yeah. That's a little disappointing, but at the same time, like I said at the beginning, I was not expecting this to be top tier meta. This is a pet deck for me. It's a deck that I really do care about, ways that I want to make sure I can get this deck to work. I will always constantly tinker with aliens, find out what works, what doesn't, what are some new ways to play, and who knows? Maybe Konami will give enough support to push it over the edge, but I don't want it to be support that it's going to push it to the point of tier 1, because that means stuff gets banned. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and do expect every once in a while a random alien video to come out, because you know I always like to revisit these extraterrestrial little monsters. Oh, how I love them. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. Let me down in the comments. What are your alien brews? What are some of your tech choices? Do you lean more just onto the reptile side of things? Do you try to stick a little more pure in aliens? Or is there a different playstyle that you're aiming for? Are you going more for, let's say, like the brainwashing beam, all that, like just more snatch steal type of effect as opposed to effect negation? I want to hear it. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for tuning in.